Hi, this is Jonathan Tiersten from The Perfect House and Sleepaway Camp, and you are listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast at Denver Comic Con 2014 and beyond. As always, I am Ryan, and sitting both to my left is...
Brad.
James.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Brad, how'd your filming go this week?
We completed it. I haven't put it together, but...
You finished the whole film?
No,
Oh.
just one more scene.
You
say,
completed
wow.
this week.
No.
This week
There's a
is
long
done.
way to go yet. Long way to go.
Cool.
I did see someone eating a bird on pictures you were posting.
Thank you. Yes.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I said a bird.
Not,
You know what I'm
saying? What
not
kind
all
of
the
bird?
birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bird.
Hopefully it's funny. But the annoying thing is, like, I get home nowadays and I put my head on a pillow and I just pass out. Like, I can't get any work done after work. Yeah. It sucks.
I hear you.
Feed meal! Guess what, guys?
What?
We didn't get any real fan mail, but I do have some cool announcements to make.
Awesome.
When we were at Telluride Horror Show, Academy Award-winning special effects guy Phil Tippett he showcased a thing that he's been working on for a long time called Mad God,
yeah.
Chapter 1, and he funded that through Kickstarter, and he said he's going to put the other chapters on there to help him fund that, because unfortunately in Hollywood right now there's not a lot of money in making stop motion and things like that. It's all CGI.
Right.
Well, if you haven't seen Mad God, you definitely should. It's a really cool little surreal, kind of weird... I don't know how to describe it. But he also said he doesn't know how to describe it because it's purposely open for interpretation.
Yeah.
Just know there's a lot of cool, weird monsters in it that are stop motion and blood and guts.
Beautiful. I would describe it as beautiful.
Yeah, gothic
Like-
beautiful is a good way to describe it. But right now, you can go on Kickstarter and chip in for Chapter 2. And if you could do that, that would be awesome. Because
What's their goal?
I don't know what the goal is.
Oh, okay.
But it just launched a couple days ago. So if you donate money to that, or is it called donating the money? Or are you
Contributing?
I mean, yeah,
contributing?
It's donating.
If you contribute money to that, you get a bunch of cool little things. And you should definitely do it. It's really cool to see. And
Yeah.
I'd like to see him continue it. I don't know how many chapters he said he wanted to do. I think 3 or 4. But also, too, if you want a little more insight from the man himself, he was on this show, and you can listen to that show at realnerdspodcast.com. Click on the interview section and find the Phil Tippett interview. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should just definitely check it out. And I'm sure on the Kickstarter, I should have watched it before we got on, but I'm sure he has some sort of preview, either the whole thing of Chapter 1 or some preview of Chapter 2 that you can check out. But it's old school stop motion, kind of like Jason and the Argonauts kind of style stop motion.
Yeah.
So you should definitely do that. And our friends at Denver Comic Con also have a thing for us. I have it. I'm just reading. I just want to make sure I say it right. One of the things that I think a lot of people don't know about Denver Comic Con is not only if you buy a ticket to Denver Comic Con, you're supporting Comic Book Classroom, what helps promote basically literacy to children through comic books.
Right.
But they're also looking for ways to expand it, and they've done this in the past. But this year they're really expanding their Real Heroes of Cinema. And here's basically what I want to say. I'm going to read this little thing to highlight it. Denver Comic Con is committed to highlighting education programming, and since television and film is such a huge part of our pop culture, it's only natural that we're offering so many hours about the theory and practice of those mediums. This is from we met Bruce. He's basically in charge of the programming on the film side.
Yeah.
And he's saying there are already film festivals where aspiring artists can screen their work, and you can do that at DCC too. But we're offering something more. Here you can experience the diverse perspectives of some of the best TV and filmmakers in the country. Outside of film school, there's not much else like it between the coasts. So basically what they're doing is not only they're showcasing work from people, which are the Real Nerds going to be part of that, Brad?
I don't know. No one's gotten back to me about that.
We did submit our pod show to that, so hopefully we'll be a part of it as well. But what they're doing is they're trying to bring not only, you're getting celebrities about film and TV, but they want to let people know how people got into it. And, I mean, they have some really cool people in here. Like, one of my favorite is Greg Weisman. He's the executive producer of the Star Wars franchise Rebels. That's the new animated one. And also, he did one of my favorite Spider-Man cartoons called The Spectacular Spider-Man. And if you're really, really into the cult cartoons, he did Gargoyles. That was like his big break.
I loved Gargoyles.
They also have Weta
So they
there,
went to Avalon.
which is, if you don't know who Weta is, remember they're a 5-time Academy Award-winning visual effects team from such films as Lord of the Rings, King Kong. Makeup professionals. They also have a second unit director or a second assistant director from The Walking Dead.
Oh, cool.
And his name is Vincent Gonzalez, and he actually finished as a second unit director on Transformers, the new movie. So it'll be a good time to sit down and see what a second unit director does. And a lot of people don't know the second unit director are usually the guys who direct the action and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like the truck chase from Raiders of the Lost Ark. When he slides underneath the car, that's all second unit. And one of those really cool. There's a really great story that Spielberg tells about how that was one of those moments he knew the movie was going to work when his second unit director brought him one of the most impressive action scenes we've ever had.
Exactly. And what's really cool too is here's a last little part of it. It's more than a film festival. Remember, they're going to have panels about introducing films to mediums and to people and how they get into it. But they're also accepting film submissions. So if you want to get in on it, you have to submit your stuff online by May 1st. So that's in a couple weeks. And just so you know, filmmakers are expected to participate in a Q&A afterwards. So I'll be up there in for the Real Nerds if we get it. Unless Brad wants to talk.
Well, they asked me to talk about YouTube distribution, but I don't know how much I know about that. Like more of a production side person.
But yeah, you never know. You might see Brad up there.
And they're also looking for more family-friendly stuff. That's the only thing I can think of that they wouldn't get back to us on.
Yeah.
Yeah. More stuff is not family-friendly.
We have censored versions.
We do. But we still say shit and stuff in them.
Yeah.
You really just edit out the fucks.
Yeah, it's PG-13.
Yeah. So, before we go to, I'll give you the breakdown of what Comic Book Classroom is. And when you buy tickets that are going very fast to Denver Comic-Con, Comic Book Classroom is a charitable organization that educates through alternative approaches to literacy, learning, and character development. CBC creates programs for underdeserved students, schools, and underserved. Yeah, guys, maybe I should hold this up instead of trying to read it like this. Schools and communities via comic books, graphic novels, and related media. CBC is the organizer and producer for Denver Comic-Con. So
yeah, they're awesome.
Make sure that you get it, and you're helping out a lot of children to help them read. That's it, guys. Those are some announcements from our friends Phil Tippett, Academy Award winner, and Denver Comic-Con.
I love those people.
Every week we go see a new movie, if you're wondering what you're listening to us for, and we podcast our experience of the world. This week we went and saw Blandscendence. And if you're wondering, should I upload myself to see that movie? You're going to have to stay tuned until the end of the show, and we will tell you if you should see it or not.
Or you can just fast forward
Or you can
on the episode. You can do that too.
Don't do
we're
that.
going to wait till the end.
Yeah.
We're going to wait till the end. We also talk about movies we've watched and comic books and movie news. We just like to have fun. Entertainment podcasting at its best, I think. If I should be so humbled. Humble? Yep, your bowl. Anyways, if you're wondering what the #1 movie at the box office was next week and you don't have the internet, I'm going to tell you.
This week?
Next week.
Last
week.
week.
I already know what's going to be this week. It's the same movie that was last week.
This is the box office stats.
Probably.
Captain America, #1 again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not surprising. It's getting really good reviews, and people seem to really enjoy it. It's a different take on the superhero genre. How much is it? 48 million?
41. for
41
last
million.
weekend. Yeah.
41, and the movie we saw, the Grand Budapest, I think it's just holding steady because it's not really a huge expansion.
Yeah.
Just
Though we would have talked about this in news, but we might as well talk about it now. It broke.
The Master.
What?
It broke the Master's gross.
No.
For
no.
highest grossing
Oh, that's not what I was going to talk about. But what do you?
in limited release.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that one. I knew that it is now the highest grossing Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
That was
gonna
just
say.
a beautiful goal by the Avalanche.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But Wes Anderson is interesting because he's such, I think, a popular filmmaker, but it seems like his movies don't catch on until later. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, oh, Grand Budapest has made, was it 40-something million? Oh, that's his highest grossing movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's first when it's first in limited release, when it was first I think it was the highest grossing for 4 theaters or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah, it's like
impressive.
100,000
Yeah.
of screen. That's
So people are hungry for that one.
yeah.
And then Moonrise Kingdom before that did really well, but stuff like Fantastic Mr. Fox, well, that had a 4,000 theater release.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it didn't.
But still,
Catch
he's
on.
one of those filmmakers that everybody, I think, knows, I would say,
Yeah.
but not everybody maybe appreciates.
Mhm.
or sees in
No.
theaters necessarily.
Yeah.
This one's done really well in worldwide because
Mm-hmm.
this is the first time he's ever broken $100 million as well.
I can
So,
see it has more universal appeal because, also, anytime you start incorporating other countries in, the other countries kind of get behind it.
Yeah.
That's why there's some movies that have China in it because China's such a growing market.
Like every action movie now.
Yeah. That's the next market for Real Nerds Podcast to
China.
penetrate is China.
We should just start doing Chinese commercials.
We should.
Or we could do some
Should we-
fake Chinese commercials on YouTube and then see if they'll hire us.
And we should just have Stephen Colbert's Ching Chong Ding Dong come in.
That's racist, Ryan. Come
it,
on.
It really is.
Hashtag cancel Real Nerds.
Yeah. It's so funny that Stephen Colbert, where the people cancel Colbert because of Ching Chong Ding Dong.
And then he
he
gets
was a
promoted.
character 10 years ago. I wonder
Yeah.
why people just notice now.
And now he's taking over for Letterman.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah, because he should, because he's awesome.
Yep. I'd probably watch late night.
This is the stuff that's coming out next week on Blu-ray.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
This is a lame week. It's not
except
much.
for one
There's
release.
There's a couple really cool things
There's
in
one
there, but
release
they're
that I'm
little
really
things.
looking forward to. It's already pre-ordered.
So apparently the biggest one is Tyler Perry's Medea's Neighbors from Hell.
Isn't that one of his plays or something?
Yeah, it is.
Can you imagine watching a play on DVD?
I don't
That's
know.
got to be not a fun experience.
It depends on how it's shot. I've seen like a television version of Death of a Salesman that was like a play that they shot. It was all right. It had Dustin Hoffman in it, so it was really cool.
Well, yeah.
But your the set design and stuff is not quite as good. You don't have a lot of cinematography. in
but
it.
too, the experience I think of theater is going to the theater.
Oh, I totally agree. But it's also one of those things where there's no other way for you to see Dustin Hoffman play
That's
Death
true,
of a
too.
Salesman.
But there's many ways to see Tyler Perry as Medea.
yeah,
Clerks
yeah.
is almost a play.
It was.
Yeah.
The following is a lost scene from Clerks.
There's also apparently, I don't know that I've ever heard of this movie, but it's high up on the list. There's a Blu-ray release of Sorcerer starring Roy Scheider. Have you ever heard of this movie?
Yeah, it's an old 1970s movie. It's really who's the director of it?
Oh.
I want to say the guy who did The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm. William Friedkin.
Is that right?
It's also a
Yeah.
Blu-ray book.
That's
yeah.
what I was going to say. That's the only reason I bring it up is it's like a really nice looking Blu-ray version. So
Roy
clearly
Scheider's
it's-
such a cool actor.
Totally.
It's a movie that I want to check out. I don't know if it's one I'll get right away, but
Yeah. They're also releasing Big Bad Wolves this week, which is a little indie movie that we didn't see, but it was at Mile High Horror
it's
Show.
actually at a couple festivals we went to.
Yeah.
because it was at Mile High, and I think it was at Telluride as well.
I think it was as well, and it
It's an
had a lot
Israeli
of buzz
movie.
around it. Yeah. And I think, oh my goodness, shit. The dude who directed Pulp Fiction. I'm the worst
Quentin
person.
Tarantino?
Quentin
No,
Tarantino.
don't tell him.
He's almost got it.
Tarantino put it on his top 10
you're
for
so
last
close.
year, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's got a lot of buzz around it. People should check it out. There's also a couple Spider-Man releases this weekend.
There are. I wonder if they're taking advantage of something.
They're releasing the entire Spectacular Spider-Man run on
That's
Blu-ray.
one I pre-ordered. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because the cartoon is actually filmed in widescreen, and the DVDs didn't put them.
The cartoon is filmed.
Cartoons are filmed.
They're put to film.
They used to be.
They used to be put to film.
So funny.
They don't use reels in movies anymore. They don't even use reels. Like, why would you name yourself?
Okay, so
Reel?
how would you say it was produced in widescreen?
Yeah,
you,
printed,
Brad.
whatever.
So yeah,
Drawn.
so it's cool that they're putting it out on Blu-ray.
Was
too,
the DVD full screen?
Yeah,
Ew.
and the DVD was the second season because you borrowed them from me. Remember, the second
Yeah.
season was like 3 cartoons.
Yeah.
I don't have any more special features on it, but it'll be cool to see it in high def and
Yeah.
not be separated and things like that.
Yeah. The one I'm probably going to pre-order is actually the entire Spider-Man trilogy is getting a release, like in what looks like a cool kind of box set.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's
and it's-
Spider-Man's eye with a spider in it.
Yeah. And it's only like $30, which is less than what the Blu-rays individually have cost.
Yeah, but Brad brought up a good point. They don't have the slipcovers with the 1, 2, and 3 on it anymore, so I don't know how you're going to figure out which. It's so stupid. I have those ones because I wanted to get the full versions. I actually got the Spider-Man trilogy on Blu-ray when Blu-rays like first came out.
Yeah, right.
When Spider-Man 3 was first
I
released.
think it was one of those ones where like they put them all into a pack.
Exactly.
together,
And
yeah.
Spider-Man 1 and 2 didn't have any bonus features. It's just the movie.
Ew.
So when Amazing came out, they re-released them with all the bonus features carried over from all the versions. It's like, cool. So I bought them, but they have these dumb, like, number 1.
Yeah, they're the ugliest.
And the
Blu-rays.
characters' faces in half.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
then it
and
says
there's-
Spider-Man 2, and then it has a number 2 below it. Like
And it's really
too
poorly
dumb.
photoshopped, and the colors are really bad. And anyway,
Yeah, anyways.
and the very last thing is there is a 25th anniversary edition of Chances Are getting released on Blu-ray.
It's really cheap, too. It's
Yeah.
something like
It's like
$10.
$16 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Was that one of the ones that like was hard for you to find back in the day when you were going through all those?
It
movies?
is, because if you see my collection, it's actually in a 2-pack with Only You.
Oh.
There's a lot of those early 90s
Yeah,
Robert
this one
Downey
was
Juniors
89,
where they
yeah.
just package together.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't have Amazon doesn't list any special features on it, so I don't know if it's just repackaged as nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
how-
chances are it's actually a cute movie with him. It's kind of a follow up to his. He did Heart and Soul, which I really liked, where he's kind of being inhabited by all these ghosts. And in Chances Are, he's another he's reincarnated as this guy who was killed on when he found out his wife was pregnant, and he comes back in Robert Downey Jr. and tries to meet his daughter and things. It's a really interesting movie, and there's a Rod Stewart song in it.
there you go. That's all you need.
Yep,
Cool.
that's it. James, you have a comic book this week?
I do.
Cool.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner.
What you got?
Ryan, you like superhero books, right?
I do.
Have you ever read Invincible?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like it?
It's all right.
I enjoyed it. It's one of those ones where Invincible is written by Robert Kirkman, art by Ryan Otley, and I really like the art. I mean, it's
his art's really good.
yeah, he's cool. And what's neat about him is like he's deceptively. You look at his art at first glance and you think it's kind of cartoonish and simple,
Mhm.
and then like when he gets, you think it's sort of childish almost, where
It's
like
really
everything
clean.
feels very safe, and then all of a sudden when he starts throwing gore in there, like his books can be really messy, and
Yeah.
like his art's really cool. But basically, it's about this boy who his dad is like a Superman type character. His mom doesn't have superpowers at all, but he's going to high school, and it feels at first very traditional. But what's really cool about this book, and I'm not going to spoil what the twist is, because it's been out for years, but there is this rule that you sort of don't spoil Kirkman books.
Well,
But-
this one's a big one, though.
Yeah.
And it's really important.
It is. It totally is.
Because it defines who he is as a character.
Right.
I will say that.
Yeah, totally. But what I really actually love about Invincible is that it feels very much like Kirkman's kind of playground, where there's a lot of like fun meta little jokes about comics, and especially about superhero comics. Because while on one hand he is writing this really fun and accessible superhero story where there's no canon, it's not like jumping into X-Men or something like that where there's all these characters to keep track of. Like it's one continuous story. But at the same time, he'll sort of play on a lot of the tropes and the things that you see in superhero comics a lot. He'll make fun of just comics in general. There's one that pops out to my head that there's a panel where the two characters are talking about comics, and they're talking about how much they hate when cheap comics reuse the same art. and at the same time, during that conversation, Ryan Otley is reusing the same panels between the two characters, and it's just it's fun stuff like that where that he's just really enjoying what he's writing and what he's doing with those characters, and it's not they're nice little image trades, so they're already pretty cheap, and if you go to Colorado Coins Cards and Comics, you get them for 20% off.
You can. I do have a obscure Spider-Man team up with Invincible.
Oh yeah,
with Kirkman and Otley drawn it. Yeah, it's
cool.
a funny little issue.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I have. It's a really one-off, and I don't know if a lot of people know it exists, but it's pretty funny.
That's cool.
I'd have to bust it out again to remember exactly what it's about.
It's a good book. People should check it out.
I'll put one in too because next week mine's going to be the series finale of Soup Superior, so I can't wait to talk about it. But I mentioned this book before. It's called The Afterlife with Archie.
Yeah.
And issue 4 freaking moved me.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I don't know a lot about Archie comics, but there's such part of Americana that I know of Archie. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I'm the same way.
So this book opens with the cliffhanger from issue 3 is Archie is about to be attacked by Jughead's dog, Hot Dog, which is a carrier of this rabies disease that turns people into zombies. Mm-hmm. And so it starts right away. It doesn't start right away from the cliffhanger. It takes back, and Archie's a little boy, and his dad's with him, and he says, okay, Archie, if you get a dog, you have to feed it. You have to get sick. You have to take care of it. And it's like 3 pages of Archie picking out his dog that he's going to get named Vegas. And then after the intro, it cuts right back to present time where his dog bursts out of the window, and he gets between Archie and the zombie dog, and they do this shot where the dog has thoughts, and it looks back at Archie, and it says, Master Archie, run. And then there's a fight between the dog and the zombie dog, and Archie goes in his house, and he's looking for his parents, and he finds his mom, and his dad's turned into a zombie, so Archie has to kick his dad down the stairs, and he beats him over the head to death with a bat, and it's... You see, what's so great about it is you see Archie go from this teen kind of kid to being a protector of all these people. Mm-hmm. And it's really a great book. And I won't say what happens to his dog, but then there's another heartbreaking moments. I guess you already know. Like heartbreaking moments as the book goes on. And it was a really great book. Just because I love seeing how Archie has grown in this little system, and it tugs on your heartstring. Anybody who's had a dog, and you see what they do. It's a great book, so I can't wait till issue 5 hits the stands.
That's cool.
Hey, we watched shit this week.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, what shit did you watch this week?
You sure you want to go there? It's long. It's a long
mine's,
list.
mine's long too.
That's what she said.
I bet mine's
twice.
longer than yours.
I'm sure it is.
All right, let's pull out our list and see who has the biggest list.
How's this? Is this long enough for you?
No, mine's longer. For sure.
All right. So the first thing I watched was because I heard on the what's the podcast? How Did This Get Made? They were talking about No Holds Barred, the Hulk Hogan movie from like 1987, I think.
Oh man.
And
I think we were talking about this. Weren't we talking about this? Not like on the podcast.
I think you and I were just for
we were
fun.
talking about.
I actually watched it a few weeks
Suburban
ago, but I
Commando.
forgot to mention it on the last episode. But and it's in the podcast. They spend like a whole hour just talking about the first 10 minutes of how ridiculous this movie is, and it's pretty retarded.
Refresh the listeners. You talked to me about it last week, but what's the story behind No Holds Bar again?
So Hulk Hogan is, I forget his full name, but his stage name is Rip something in the movie.
Riptide.
Yeah, something like that. And he is like the national wrestling champion, and there's this network that wants to get the ratings that wrestling is getting. So they try to court Rip into joining a new program based on wrestling that they're developing. And I forget what it's called, but it's really like tame. It's called like
WWX.
No, it's just like King of the Fighters or like Brawl, like best brawlers or something. It's really uninspired. And then he rejects it because he's really loyal. And then the network guys stumble on to this other guy that they find in like a dive bar where they do wrestling. And there's a midget in a cage that hangs in the ceiling.
Nice.
Nothing sells a movie like a midget in a cage.
You know that guy in The Dark Knight who is on one of the criminals on the ship
Yeah.
who gets the detonation device and then throws it away?
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy. He's the other fighter
Yeah.
that they get on their side. And it was so lame, I kind of stopped paying attention about after that.
Were you able to find this on Netflix, or you?
It's on
own it?
Netflix,
I said
yeah.
you own the DVD.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't own this to try it out.
Oh, you wouldn't, like, if you found it for like $3, you wouldn't just pick it up?
No.
And, no.
No, I that's what I rely on Netflix for, is to test out stuff for myself. And Netflix didn't have another movie called Enemies Closer, so luckily my parents wanted to watch it, so they DirecTV
Mhm.
downloaded it, and that's the movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme is you might have seen the previews where he's got like the crazy hair,
Yeah,
and he's wearing the Canadian Mountie uniform.
that's right.
Yeah. This movie is about a park ranger, and
Naturally.
he is alone in the wilderness by choice because he's trying to escape a past that he regrets. And he is being hunted secretly by Orlando Jones, who is upset with him because he allowed his brother to get killed in the war.
What war? They don't
Just
specify?
Afghanistan, I think. They don't specify. It's just like he was overseas. He was sent in for a mission, and instead of just pulling him out, they sacrificed him to save the rest of the team, which he argues, he would have wanted because he was a patriot and a soldier, and he wouldn't want the team to die. But his brother can't accept that. He thinks that the ranger was just a coward and wasn't doing his job right. And then meanwhile, Jean-Claude Van Damme is this French-Canadian villain who, I guess there was a plane full of heroin that fell in the lake, crashed in the lake, and he needs the park ranger who has army training for deep sea diving to go into the lake and get it out of the sunken plane for him. And the dialogue is just awful in the movie. It's ridiculous. And it's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's because Jean-Claude is just, the villain character. He's not the star.
Yeah.
It's these other two guys and their story as they become no longer enemies, but friends and understanding where each other is coming from. And Jean-Claude Van Damme has a stunt double, clearly.
Wow.
A lot of his fights are shot in the dark. Actually, the whole movie pretty much takes place at night. There's a lot of just really brightly lit forest scenes. Like there's just a light shining across just the light of the forest. It's it's pretty weak.
It sounds a lot like Into the Blue, but not as good.
I did not see that.
You should see Into the Blue. It's not
I don't
great.
think so. What Jean-Claude Van Damme is actually pretty entertaining because he's like this vegan, anti-global warming character. So he'll randomly kill somebody and then spout off some progressive, like, what was it? He's like, there's this old man who is like, there's two people who live on the island, the ranger and then this old man, and eventually they're like, oh, we gotta go to the old man's house because he can we can stay there and he probably has guns or something that can help us. And then Jean-Claude's tracking him, so they go to the house, do a firefight, and then as Jean-Claude walks up to like the door, he sees like a basket of apples. And he just picks one up and he says, organic. Like, how would he know?
He can taste pesticide.
Yeah. So, and then they
that's
murder the old
awesome.
man and whatnot. And the old man in that scene, like, early in the movie, he protests, like, I don't want to deal with any people. I'm an isolationist by choice, so stay away from me. And, of course, the park ranger brings all this attention to his place. And instead of just, getting upset, the old man actually tells them to bail, and he'll sacrifice himself to save them. It's so stupid.
So is Jean-Claude Van Damme the star of this movie?
No.
He doesn't
He's
really
a side
star in
character.
anything.
I mean, he's entertaining, but
Mhm.
he's not.
But it seems like he doesn't star in anything anymore. Is it because I don't know. Like, I'm waiting for Death Warrant 2. That's all I'm waiting for.
I'm waiting for Street Fighter 2.
Turbo Edition.
Yeah. Then the next thing I saw was The Raid 2.
Oh, sweet. Is it cool?
I wouldn't say I like the story that much, but the action is insane.
Sweet.
And I'm amazed like no one died. Or that I know of. It's
Did
incredible.
you ever see the first one?
No, I didn't see the first one. But I felt like from what I had heard, it didn't seem like I needed to see the first one.
Yeah, I heard you don't see him for the stories. You just see him for like the crazy action they do.
And the action, like the director is also the writer and the choreographer, so it's like 3 intense jobs for like this movie. And yeah, the story is not that great, but it's not terribly interesting. It's more of a like a kind of a hey, we'll throw a mole in there and you'll infiltrate them from the inside and get actual evidence on all like the gangland crimes. But there's 2 scenes in particular. There's one that's this car chase where like a guy even gets clipped by a truck that passes by. It's incredible. There's this one villain who is like really like expertly trained, and he squares off against the hero in this kitchen, like this restaurant kitchen. And it starts out, it's probably like a 10 to 15 minute long single fight, but it starts out very slow. It's just like, it's in the trailer where that guy like inches his foot close. Yeah. It starts out so slow and just escalates like ever so slightly.
That's sweet.
So like by the 7-minute mark, finally like the expert bad guy busts out they're like these raptor claw shaped knives. And then by that time, like, they haven't drawn blood so much as just like punched each other through stuff. And they never use like once or twice, like a frying pan will get thrown across the room, but they never like resort to like, Jackie Chan will use all the instrument, like all the surrounding objects. But this guy, so it gets to the knives and like there's a real sense of jeopardy. Like one slash could kill either one of them.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse and worse, like to where the hero doesn't get slashed so much, but the villain like is taking a bunch of hits, and it's just like so slowly just building and building and building to like this, like these 2 warriors like really going at it. Like I was actually like digging my hands into my seat because like there's that real sense of jeopardy, like who's gonna get it, and like really believing that the hero could get offed because like no one's safe.
That's cool.
Yeah, so definitely recommend seeing it for
That's
the action.
awesome.
Yeah, and then like very early on, there's this battle in the prison. It's like raining out, so there's like tons of mud in the like rec area, and just some of this like there's like people being beaten with hammers and stuff, and it just looks so convincingly realistic. Like people should be like seriously injured or dead in this movie. Yeah. And then I saw 2 more things, and they're very similar, which is why I put them together. There's this movie that was at the Esquire that I missed for midnight. It's called Miss 45. And it's actually a movie that came out in like 1981, but the Draft House re-released it under their label. And it's about this woman who's basically a mute. Like she's not, I think she chooses to not talk. It's never really explained. And she works as like an ironer for a fashion agency.
Like she just irons?
Yeah, she just irons clothes. Like that's her job.
Wow.
And then on her way home, she gets attacked and raped by somebody. And then like 10 minutes later, she goes home and finds out that someone while that was happening, broke into her apartment. And then he rapes her. So she is traumatized, understandably. Mm-hmm. And then after she's raped, she kills that guy who did it to her in the apartment with her iron. Just bashes him on the head with it.
Awesome.
And then, like, over the next few days,
she becomes
mutilates
an
him.
iron-wielding superhero?
No, she's a 45-wielding superhero. So after she cuts him up, slowly stores each part in her fridge, and then each day she goes out and just dumps a bag of it randomly, like in a trash can on the street or in an alley. And then she, as she witnesses like other women being brutalized, as she goes around the city, she becomes a vigilante, where she fucking kills pimps, and rightfully so, or even just guys she is suspicious about. She offs them too, and it's pretty boring and not. because she doesn't talk.
Yeah.
It's very like it's all like her weird facial expressions and stuff, and she has like this landlady with a dog who's like this gypsy woman, and then like there's all these like really creepy men in the movie.
Yeah.
Like she and her girlfriends from the fashion agency are sitting around a table, and then there's this one sleazy guy who's apparently a photographer just making out with this other chick, and that chick leaves, and then he just goes over her table and just starts macking on him. I don't understand the mindset of guys like that.
Yeah.
So I can understand where she's coming from, but she goes to what was it? She goes to this park or something. No, she goes to this bar. She starts talking to this guy, and this guy actually seems pretty nice, and he's talking about how his wife left him or cheated on him and left him. And then you go to this park, and he starts talking about like how he dealt with it, and he ends up confessing that he strangled their cat, like out of anger to take it out on his wife, but he took it out on the cat, and obviously this pisses this lady off, so she pulls out her 45 and like points it at him, and then it clicks, so it misfires, and then he's like, "What the, you were gonna kill me?" And then he takes the gun, and there's like this, silence, and he points it at himself, and then blows his own brains out. You're just like, what?
He's like, I'm going to prove a point.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about how low he felt, so I guess he wanted to die, but there's stuff like that. And then on her way back from that, she gets picked up by just some Middle Eastern guy who just rides around in a limo picking up chicks, shoots his dick off, kills the driver, and then she goes to a Halloween
funny,
party.
Like 21 Jump Street?
Yeah. No. So, yeah, it's this woman who's just killing men around the city that she finds, like...
Without ever talking.
Yeah, she like writes notes once in a while to explain to other characters, like how because her boss is constantly saying like, you haven't been doing so great lately at your job, and we really hope you come to the Halloween party. So so it seems like you're a part of this team. And then even though you can tell like she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, she writes a note like, I really want to go, stuff like that.
And then she shoots his dick off.
Nah.
Nice. No, she shoots the punch bowl. That's what I think of your
No, she actually shoots most everyone at the party, even a woman, I think. So
weird.
And then the last thing I saw was Under the Skin, which is the
Oh,
Scarlett
no
Johansson
way.
movie.
She
Very
naked
cool.
in it?
Yeah,
I need to see it.
really naked, not like brightly lit, but like in shadow. But you can see lots of parts.
Nice.
Yeah,
I need to see this
lots of
movie.
parts you shouldn't see.
I need to
Yeah,
No, we shouldn't see. We should see, Brad. Let's be honest.
How's the movie?
the movie is weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've read about it.
Obviously, it's not weird because it's like there's a very distinct lack of dialogue or anything, but it's just like there's a lot of repetitiveness to it, and it basically boils down like there's obviously some deeper meaning going on behind it that I can't figure out.
It's so funny. Everything you've just said is every review I've read about that movie.
Yeah,
Like, where people say it looks really cool and it's
visually it's amazing,
but it's fucking weird and they don't get it.
yeah. I understand it's like an observation on the human condition, but I don't know specifically what they're trying to get because
Not quite sure what they're observing.
much like most of Miss 45, it's Scarlett Johansson going out, like riding around the neighborhood, picking up guys, and then bringing them back to her metaphorical spider web, where she traps them and then absorbs them into whatever thing. And she has this partner who like rides a motorcycle. They're obviously like aliens from another planet.
Yeah.
Like that's what I get from it, and they're harvesting people. And so as she gets to know the people she traps better, she starts to like get curious about the human condition. So she eventually defects from their plan and just goes out on her own and just experiences these things, and then it just kind of ends with. I don't know if I should spoil this.
I would rather you didn't.
Yeah, it's climactic, but it's like it feels like just out of nowhere. Like it's just as soon as we're learning like where she's going as a character, that's it.
Huh.
Seems like a movie my wife would like.
I don't know. Maybe.
She likes those weird sex kind of movies.
Yeah. The thing is that like there's not really sex in it. It's just like she gets naked because like it's part of her mission.
Mm-hmm.
Like early on, I guess there was one of these alien characters, and somehow it got killed. So the person who's her partner picks her up, brings her back, and then she trades places with it. Like they might have manufactured Scarlett Johansson's character to replace her, and so she takes her clothes and everything. And then the other big time she's naked is when she's on the lam, and she just starts inspecting like what the human form really is.
It's based on a book.
Yeah. I saw that in the credits.
No,
Yeah.
I was just reading about it because there's a feature of Scarlett Johansson in one of my new Entertainment Weekly, and they talk about that in that trailer we saw, Lucy, about how she wants to kind of do different things constantly. That's why she chose that one, and the Lucy's like the superhuman, something like that. But it looks fascinating. Where's it playing at? Cause
it's at the Mayan
is it the
and the Highlands Ranch 2014.
Because I know Laura would want to see it, so I'm trying to think of where to take her.
Yeah, you got 2 choices.
Cool.
And that's it for me. Is the show over?
No.
Ooh, fight.
Oh no, I'm losing my list here. So I'm gonna fly through a couple of quick things here. Justified ended this week. Well, actually, it ended last week, but I saw the finale this week.
I heard it's not a very good season.
I disagree. I think that they the stuff that they put Boyd through and sort of the way his arc is going. This was a tough season for Boyd, and a lot of what was going wrong right for him started to go wrong, and it sort of where they end with that character, and especially where they end with Boyd and Raylan. Like I think they're setting up for a really cool
because
season.
next season's the last one, right?
Yes, I mean I don't know that is official yet. We won't really know probably until they start doing the marketing if they start calling it the final season. But the writers have said there are only 6 seasons, so unless FX is like really decides to throw a shit ton of money at them, the next season will be the last one. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I don't like about the finale is they use like this weird modern version of the Harlan song that they usually use at the end of the season, and it was just like annoying more than it was like it totally ruined the last scene. But that's not true. But it was like, come on, why, but no, I actually really enjoyed it. I also saw a couple of movies this week. I finished the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy, watched Turtles in Time, which I think I might like the most out of the 3 of them. I'm not even kidding. Like I think that movie is the most like cohesive of the 3. Like the story is silly, but like I know what those characters are trying to do, and it clips along fairly well, and a lot of the jokes are still really corny, but I forgive it for that because it was from the 90s. Like what that movie, you can't make a movie like that now. Like there's just that sense of humor is very early 90s. But it was all right. Overall, like I appreciate TMNT a lot now because like that movie really took those characters and said like, okay, they're gonna be fun, but they're also gonna be like deeper characters, and the action in that movie is really cool. Where I think that the original trilogy suffers from like being dudes, like karate dudes in masks sometimes, where like action scenes will go on and you're just like, oh, all right, like this doesn't look like action. This looks like 2 dudes like hitting their swords against each other for a little while until one of them falls over, which really does happen in Turtles in Time. Like they're both sitting on there's this scene at the beginning where they're both sitting on horseback, I believe, and they just sort of go up to each other, and there's just like close-ups of their swords smacking against each other for a while, and you're like, this is not how you fight with swords. I've never fought with a sword, but I'm pretty sure that you don't just like make X's over and over again. But anyway, it was all right. I also watched Amelie this week, which is one of those movies that there are plenty of people in my life that I've met when they find out I've never seen Amelie, they like want to tear my skin off and take me into their
Brad's the biggest one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I finally I bought the Blu-ray and watched it, and that movie is adorable. Really, really cool. I mean, it's entirely in French. So if you are completely unwilling to watch a movie that is in French, then
That
it's
sounds
not
like
for
a
you.
piece of shit already.
But the story of
I took
Amelie
French
is.
for 10 years.
Then you could probably watch it without even you've been to France. You could
I
probably
have
watch it
been,
without
right.
the subtitles on.
Nah, I probably still need the subtitles.
Is there an English dub for it?
I don't think so. At least not
I
on-
wouldn't watch that, but
I didn't
yeah.
even try. Yeah, because I think part of why you like that character is some of the nuances of the way that Amelie behaves, and you would probably lose some of that if the voice were different. But anyway, the story. Sorry, excuse me. The story of Amelie is she's this young girl. She grows up as this young girl in France who. Her parents are just sort of weird and very overly protective of her, and so she grows up to be sort of solitary. She doesn't go out and meet people very much. And then one day, she finds this little tin buried in the wall in her bathroom, and she gets this wild hair where she decides, she's gonna find out who put that tin there. It's got little boys' toys and playing cards and stuff in it. So she knows some little boy put it there 40 years ago, and she wants to go find him and give it back to him because she thinks that might be nice for that person. And what that sort of mission leads her to do is start doing really nice things, or trying to do nice things without even being seen in the lives of the people around her in order to improve their lives. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Along the way, she sort of gets obsessed with this one guy and kind of falls in love with him. The character is just adorable. The story is really heartwarming. It's definitely one of those that you should really just check this movie out because it's fun. It's got some quirky stuff in it, and it's shot beautifully. One of the reasons that I don't think I saw it for a long time is it's what's his name, Jean-Pierre. Anyway, he's the guy who did Alien Resurrection. Who that movie is
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That movie's directed like a 2x4 was holding up the camera the whole time. It's just a horrible mistake. But this is really cool. There's some surreal stuff in there, and it's neat. Definitely worth checking out. I also, for the first time, saw all the President's Men this week. There's a really cool book edition of that Blu-ray that I picked up, and All the President's Men stars Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, and they play these two reporters for the Washington Post back in the early 70s who, even though everybody else sort of believed that Watergate was probably not that big of a deal, they aggressively pursued their leads. Robert Redford plays the guy Woodward, I believe is his last name, who had this contact deep throat, and they sort of go they take you through the story of how all the work they had to do to build this case against them, and what was really against these guys to pull this off.
It's one of those movies where not a lot happens, but it's really fascinating,
Totally.
and really well acted, and you're like, oh, what's happening next?
Exactly. There were a couple of times. It's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's a long movie.
And nothing there are a couple of scenes where later on in the movie he starts getting nervous and he'll start to run away, and it'll build some tension, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, okay, maybe nothing's wrong, or maybe something is, but there's not there's not action scenes or anything like that, and there's so much information that they are throwing at you as these guys are trying to figure out what really happened, that it can be kind of difficult to even keep up with sometimes, and yet I was totally engrossed the whole time. It's written by William Goldman, which is probably why, because the dialogue is just gorgeous. Listening to those guys talk, and it's hard to know without having a script with you how much of that is that script, because it is very casual. The characters sort of talk over each other a lot because they are all they're on this mission to try and figure out this stuff so quickly. But the way that they do it is so natural. It's just really, it's a cool movie.
It is.
Definitely worth checking out. Also very much of its time. I wish I could remember exactly when it was released, but it's sometime in the late 70s. But this is not spoilers because of course it's for history. But when you get close to the end, it just sort of ends. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even necessarily end when they figured it out. It's like they've put all the pieces together. Now they just have to go do the stuff. So, well, all right.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Guess what? They did it, and they move on. And you're like, whoa! Like it kind of gives you whiplash. But yeah, really a cool film. I also finished True Detective this week, and like ran through it because I was just sort of, I don't know, I had a little bit more time this week, and so I picked up where I had sort of fallen off early on, and it's only 8 episodes anyway. And that show is like, second half of that season was both cool, but also kind of disappointing, I'll be honest. Because I still think that overall the story is really cool, but I ended up not where they go with Woody Harrelson's character. I don't really like him very much, so I didn't really have a dog in the race as much as I did early on, where I was very interested in not just the mystery, but in who these guys are. And as I found out who they were, I was like, I don't really fucking care about these guys. And then at the same time, it starts off so gritty and trying to be very realistic, and where it ends up going in a more traditional cinematic place. Like once, as you start finding out like more about the murder mystery, I don't think it's too much. I don't think it's really spoilery to say like, yeah, in the end, there's this crazy dude who is very reminiscent of a Buffalo Bill kind of character who's just a serial killer, and it was almost disappointing, like, because I don't know. I didn't feel like they were really saying anything with the villain at all. But it's a neat show, very thought provoking. But in the end, not something that I adore the way that I adore some of the other shows that I'm watching, like the pilot for Fargo, which I was very hesitant about this back when they announced it. I was like, why would you even do this? I don't understand. I started seeing the trailers and saying like, first time I saw Billy Bob Thornton's character, I was like, okay, this looks kind of cheesy. Like, he's got these like bangs and stuff. And I was like, all right, you're trying way too hard. But then as I started seeing some of the more recent trailers and seeing the behind the scenes stuff of what they were talking about doing with the show, I started getting really interested. And I think this show's impressive from a writing standpoint. I'm a huge fan of Fargo, and I know what I love about Fargo is that juxtaposition between this sort of innocent and this pure evil. It's the reason why I love Frances McDormand is because she doesn't understand this evil person who has wandered into Fargo. And this show takes sort of the thematic framework of Fargo and places that onto a completely new story. So they're playing with some of the same ideas, and you'll see some of the same elements, and even some of the same like photography work and things like that. Even some of the same like set designs, but the characters are completely different. Basically, Martin Freeman, like Bilbo Baggins, plays this guy in Fargo who actually he's not in Fargo. He's in a little town with a weird name with a J in it that's hard to pronounce, but they're near Fargo, and he's like he was bullied a lot when he was a kid. There's even like this awkward scene where he runs into the guy who bullied him, and the guy still bullies him. And he's just, everybody in his life walks over him. His brother's a complete dick to him. His wife is the worst person. But in this very like Minnesota nice kind of way where they're not directly being mean, but what's underneath what they're saying is just the most devilish, horrible things to say to people. Like she won't, at least early on, she won't directly tell him he's not a man, but she's doing everything she can to enforce in him the idea that like he is not a man at all and she doesn't respect him. And so you just like, you kind of feel for this guy. And he runs into Billy Bob Thornton's character who basically says the bully sort of beats him up on the street a little bit. And he goes to the hospital, runs into Billy Bob Thornton's character, and Billy Bob Thornton's like, man, if somebody did that to me, I would kill him. And there's this really cool, kind of funny scene there where Billy Bob Thornton's like serious, and he says like, all you have to do is just say yes or no. and Martin Freeman's character just sort of leaves and doesn't say anything, and just sort of out of the kindness of his heart, Billy Bob Thornton, this clearly psychotic person, just goes and kills that guy, and that begins this series of bad events that start a few murders that are setting up a really cool little story that it's like I said, it's a lot of the same elements from Fargo, where there's a dumb guy who makes some dumb decisions, and he's going to have to pay the consequences for that. There are these innocent cops who just aren't prepared to deal with this situation, and there's this Billy Bob Thornton character who, like I said, at first I thought like, okay, this is cheesy and dumb, but he's a really fascinating character because he actually sort of embodies both of the villains from the movie, where he is both dark and twisted and evil in a very pure way, and kind of fun and likable. Like, I found myself rooting for him through most of the episode, and then all of a sudden he'd turn and he'd say these things, and you'd realize, like, no, this guy's fucking bad. Like, I'm not supposed to root for him, but because he's going around and encouraging these people to sort of do the things that they really want to do but feel like they can't in society, you kind of like him. There's this dream fulfillment part of it where you're like, oh yeah, this guy's...
Or you want to kill somebody?
No, not me, but like for these characters,
Don't
you kind
bully
of...
James, he'll fucking kill you.
Right. I really think it's cool, and I think it's gorgeous. Opening shots look exactly like a Coen Brothers film. It's just a really cool looking show, and I'm super excited about it. I feel like I'm getting really dark. I'm watching True Detective, Fargo, Justified, and Hannibal. Like, all I watch now are shows where people get murdered a lot, and it's fucking messed up.
Brad's shitting his pants right next to you. Oh, a turd just rolled out of his pants.
Anyway, so that's what I watched this week.
Cool. Finally, I get to talk. It's like an hour later. Fuck you two. I watched a few things. I rewatched Anchorman. I watched the unrated version.
Yeah.
Which it kind of seems, watching them, Brad, you told me you watched them too. It seems like the R-rated version that we saw, the supersized one, was like the first cut of the movie. Then they went back and they cut it to like the R-rated version, and then they cut it down to a PG-13 movie. Is
the unrated version like a different, like completely different from the second version you saw?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the R-rated version has different character beats and different scenes.
That's the one that got re-released.
Yeah.
So the unrated version is like the original, but with swearing in it.
Yeah, but but it's basically the same. Where the R-rated, because it's just different jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really like a third version of the movie.
Yeah. Because they also cut out the song between Steve Carell and Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, as much as the special features, like that whole, like they originally envisioned Anchorman 2 as a musical.
What?
Yeah. So that's why in the R-rated version there's that 10-minute musical number
About being gay,
and then something else like being on the news or something. Anyway, but yeah, that's completely gone from the PG-13 because they re-envisioned it as more of the. Ron Burgundy creates the modern news that we loathe today.
Yeah, it's still really funny though, and I mean, there's some little extra moments with James Marsden's character where he said, "You can change your name to Guy Fuck."
Dick Fuck.
Dick Fuck.
Yeah.
Is it Dick Fuck?
Yeah.
He's like, but PHUCK be really big at the Vietnamese people, and
Yeah.
there's just some. The movie's really funny, and it's just a way to keep the movie fresh. So now I can go back and watch a PG-13 one and see new jokes.
Yeah. In the R one, like Dobie's not really a big part of it
Dobie's
either.
not a part of it.
Good.
But in the unrated one, there's an extended scene of his son where they're picking the name for Dobie. And what is his son's? Crackers, I think is his name, the shark. And Ron Burgundy says, "I just want to say right now, that's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard." and he's like, "Why don't we call him Dobie?" And his son says, "Oh, that's great. That's like a bitch name, Dad." It's really funny.
He's like, "Wow, we can go on picking out names, and you could like not be an asshole about it, like, something like that."
And what's so funny, what I love about the little kid in Anchorman 2 is you can tell he's just being fed lines because he's not a very good actor, but for some reason it works because.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you watch the screen read? The script read?
No.
Yeah, so they've got like Will Ferrell, Christina Applegate, and like Paul Rudd, like they're all lined up along this table and they're reading the script.
Yeah.
And then next to Christina Applegate is like the kid, and he's got like a coach with him who's like pointing things on the script for him. Yeah.
Well, also too, I've noticed in each version when they go to the condom area, it's different condoms in each version. It's really funny because the funny one in the unrated is the condom that gets people pregnant. He's like, I think that's against everything that a condom's supposed to do. It's funny. I rewatched Mallrats on Blu-ray. I got that.
Sweet. How's
the
the transfer?
It's pretty good. It's funny going back and watching it and watching Clerks because Walt Flanagan plays like 3 parts in every one of his movies. In Mallrats, he's obviously the fanboy. He's also Mr. Svenning's like assistant that I never noticed before. Where he's like, "Get out of here, you're fired." He's like, "Okay."
The guy in the
like,
flannel.
Yeah. He walks off crying. The one thing I'd noticed big time about it being on Blu-ray is it sounds way better. I can pick up different like dialogue bits better. And I want to ask is the Willem line when Shannon Doherty's character comes up to him where she says, "Oh, a sailboat." And he's like, "Brenda?" And she's like, "Dick." I wonder if that's improvised and he just left the camera going, or because it seems really natural that she would react that way. And
is there a commentary on that?
There is, but I don't know if it's a commentary from the old DVD or the 10th anniversary DVD.
I swear I've listened to it, but I don't remember because I think Kevin Smith does explain that.
Does he?
Yeah, I just don't remember what the verdict was, if it was planned or not.
And I will say, everyone talks about their favorite Stan Lee cameo. In mine is Spider-Man 3, where he says, I guess one person can make a difference. But in Mallrats, he has such a great moment because the way he's written is he seems like he's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because he tells stories that don't make any sense. And but when he tells him, like, I love his Doctor Doom, where he says he wears armor to protect himself. That was me, Brody. It's such a great moment.
Now that you mentioned Stan Lee, I remember listening to the commentary, and they're talking about how in that scene he's walking away from Brody, and then he turns around to like deliver his last line or whatever. And so before Brody like yells out to him, Stan Lee's like walking one way, like to the left, and then he turns around and he says whatever line he says about like losing the girl, and then after he's done with that line, he completely just goes the other way. Like walks off screen the other side.
It's still a really clever movie.
Yeah.
I've seen it, 15, 20 times, and I still laugh at it. I still think it's pretty funny. And what makes the transfer really good is when you see the plans for Silent Bob and Jay, because you can really read what's on them, and it's pretty funny. So I really enjoyed watching that. That movie's funny. I also got Psycho 2 and 3, and I remember watching them a while ago. And I remember that they were good, but they weren't anything really that great. And watching them again, Psycho 2 is actually really good.
Yeah.
Except it loses it in the last 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes kills the movie. But the movie is fascinating. It opens in a courtroom with Vera Miles, she plays the sister of Marion Crane, and I forget her name. But anyways, it opens in a courtroom where Norman Bates is declared sane because you find out that he was found innocent of the murders because he was criminally insane. And if you've watched the end of Psycho, then you know that he is insane. And Anthony Perkins comes back as Norman, and he seems normal. And as soon as he gets in the house, everything's okay. And he gets a phone call, and he picks up the phone, and it's Mother. And he's, freaking out, and he's trying to get it out of his head. He's trying to explain to people that he's not crazy anymore, and he takes a job at a diner, and he thinks he sees this note. If you've seen the first Psycho, he sees notes from his mom, and it says, get killed at, I forget what it says, at Tramp or something.
Yeah.
So when he's in the diner, he sees another note from her, and when he goes and looking for it, the note disappears. And so the movie walks this really cool line between, do you believe Norman that he's going crazy, or someone really fucking with him throughout this movie? And as the movie plays, the question is never answered. It's just he picks up the phone, and he has these people staying with him, and he says, "Hi, Mother," and when people pick up the phone, there's nobody there. And so people are worried that he's gone crazy and people are being murdered again. But they can't prove it's Norman because Norman's been with other people. It's a really fascinating movie, and then the last 5 minutes just ruin it. But it's a really fascinating movie, and Anthony Perkins is really good in it because to make you believe that maybe he is crazy, but he's trying to fight being crazy is really fascinating to me because if you play it someone who's not at the caliber of actor as Tony Perkins, then it comes across really stupid. But for some reason, he's able to play it, and you almost sympathize for him because you're thinking to yourself, is this really happening, or is Norman Bates a killer and he was able to fool everybody? You know what I mean? He was able to fool everybody to get out of prison. Now he's back in the hotel and he's killing people. It's really cool, and it's played really well. Psycho 3 picks up with the twist at the end of the second movie, which I think actually hurts the third movie. Because and there's no mystery in the third one. Norman Bates is killing people again.
Yeah.
And he's crazy again. So the third one actually seems to me more of a Friday the 13th. And the second one's more like a psychological thriller because I think only 3 people die in the second one. In the third one, it's tons of people. The third one has the distinction, though, of being directed by Anthony Perkins, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I had fun watching them. And they're Scream Factory collector's editions, so they have cool interviews. The second one actually doesn't have any new interviews, but it has old interviews with people on the set and the old trailers and TV spots, so it's kind of cool to see. And I think I watched something else, but I don't remember what the fuck I watched. The Fourth Final Destination. Yeah, it's whatever.
Really?
Is that a Jeffrey Reddick
I'm
sanctioned
amazed.
one?
It is not a Jeffrey Reddick sanctioned one. He's actually doesn't. I didn't even see credits for him in it. I just. I think he was a line producer at the end, or he's given like character credits.
Yeah,
because they weren't mentioned at in the opening credits. But you know.
Yeah, I think he just has character credits at this point.
But yeah, that's what I watched this week. I bet it's time for real news.
It's real news.
It is. Not a whole lot this week. So, have you guys heard about this thing where it's Spider-Man, or where the X-Men are in that Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
So, this is interesting because when they first announced that one of the stingers on Spider-Man 2 was going to be Amazing Spider-Man 2 was going to be X-Men, I was like, oh god, this is desperate. And then I was like, wait a second, no, this is not, because it's a crossover. So what they've explained is that Mark Webb, after 500 Days of Summer, he was in a contract with Fox to make another movie, and then of course had to break all of them so that Sony could make him do Spider-Man movies. So that's why they're doing this. It's still weird, and I still feel like if I didn't know that and I were in the audience and all of a sudden they did that, I would feel like they were desperately trying to get like some kind of a crossover thing going and trying to build a Marvel Studios style universe.
It is interesting. It's because he made Spider-Man, and his next movie after Spider-Man was supposed to be a Fox movie.
Right.
And they said they'd only let him do it if he came back and did a Fox movie. But I guess now it's, hey, just promote our X-Men movie.
Yeah.
And I guess I was reading about it. I guess it's some scene with Mystique. And I also read I don't think there's a zinger at the end of Spider-Man. I think it's the credits and then that.
Because I thought originally that they were supposed to like tease the spin-offs in the stingers.
Yeah, I try to stay away. I'm just reading like little blurbs of the reviews to see what people are saying about it, but I'm fascinated.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
It's weird. It is kind of weird.
Yeah,
it'd be cool if like Andrew Garfield just showed up on the set of X-Men.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Or he rang the doorbell at Xavier's school and says, "Oh, this isn't for me," and he bounces. He's not really a mutant.
That would be good. So they're also talking about, there's some rumors out there about them making another Die Hard movie. And what's cool about this one, because the last Die Hard movie I think sucked, right? I think we all agree that
great.
one was horrible. They're talking about bringing back Samuel L. Jackson as Zeus, which I would totally enjoy because that's still my favorite of the Die Hard movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the first one's still the best one.
I think that the third one's the most fun for me. I'll say it that way. Like I think the first one's I think the first one is the smartest as far as like John McClane being this character who has to put himself through ridiculous shit, and he feels very much like a normal person. Like the third one's the first time he starts going into superhero territory.
Yeah, here's the one thing too, though. I think if you put Sam Jackson in it, though, what I would be excited about is now Bruce Willis kind of has to up his game again.
Yes,
because he's with somebody on screen who can eat him up on screen with his charisma.
Right.
So I hope that it would make him excited again, because that's the only thing that I really noticed with the fifth one is he just seemed like he didn't care.
Yeah, he's just phoning it in. Yeah. I totally agree.
And here's the thing with Willis: he's a good actor. I really think he is.
I do too.
But
was Simon Says Shane Black script?
Yeah.
It was.
All right. Yeah, just trying to clear that up. I didn't remember.
Yeah. And then the very last thing is that one of the directors from he's a VHS director, but VHS is directed by multiple guys, right? Because it's an anthology. Okay, so one of the directors from that has been slated to reboot Friday the 13th. Which how many fucking times are they going to reboot that thing? Like, didn't they just do that?
They did in 2009, which is really weird that they're going to reboot it since that movie made the most of any Friday the 13th of all time.
Yeah.
But he's the director. I forget his name, but he directed the first segment in the first VHS, which is the one with the girl demon.
His name's David Bruckner, but I don't know who that. I haven't seen VHS.
But he also directed another movie too, and it's fine. The thing with people with horror movies, and especially a franchise like that, is someone's going to get a shot, and as long as you make it cool, that's all you can really do. You didn't bring up the Hobbit news.
It's still rumors. I don't know that that's official yet. Because
I feel like it might
fucking
be a video
hate it.
game.
Yeah, please let it be a video game.
Yeah.
We need 2 more movies.
The only reason I would think that they might change the name. So okay.
But I love the name of the last one.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So the rumor is that they're going to change the name of the third movie from There and Back Again to Into the Fire. And the only reason I can see them doing that is so that they can put out a box edition of it that's called The Hobbit There and Back Again, and that way they could call the whole thing like one big movie.
Okay.
That's the only reason I could think for them to do this, because the other titles they've chosen are all pretty good titles that are also in line with the book. Like Desolation of Smaug they made up, but the first and last 2 are from the book.
Yeah, they're chapters in the book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, There and Back Again is the subtitle. Yeah. And There and Back Again is a really cool title.
Yeah.
I
love that title. I really do.
So the only reason I could think to do it is because you want to reserve that name for like a box edition of it, which I'm kind of in favor of anyway, because I think it would be really cool if they put out like a single disc. They could never do this, but like a version where you just watch it straight through and maybe there's never credits. That would be cool to me, but they're probably not going to.
I'm hoping it's just like a video game.
Probably, yeah.
Because as I read the article, and it's the registering domain names doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I know.
And I think a lot of times movie companies do that so people can't take those names.
Yeah. Because they register them so early that it's probably like you say. There's just some other thing that's thrown out there.
I'm guessing we're going to see a trailer for that pretty soon.
Yeah,
maybe before Godzilla.
Have we not actually? Yeah, no, we haven't seen one yet. Because I think they're pretty much done. They gotta be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are
at this point. Yeah, because they were supposed to release in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
They just pushed it back for like pickups and stuff.
I know they need to make room
CGI.
for Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, gosh, oh man,
that looks like a mess.
It does.
It looks like
it could
Atlas.
be cool.
It could be.
It could be really cool, but it also looks completely up its own ass.
Mm-hmm.
At least in that trailer.
Maybe that's the thing with Cloud Atlas. I thought the trailers didn't do the movie justice very well.
Yeah,
it's not like I think Cloud Atlas was a great movie, but it wasn't that bad.
No. But I also just generally think that those guys are
those guys. Whoa, one's a chick now.
The Wachowskis are a little bit up their own asses anyway. So
yeah, ever since the second Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's news.
Awesome. This week, we saw Transcendence. Brad, should people go see Transcendence?
I feel really bad saying this because, technically it's proficient and interesting, but I really enjoy the idea behind it. But I think the execution is really boring. Really boring.
James,
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. I think it might be worth renting, especially if you're really into sci-fi. Like, again, there's some really cool ideas here, and I like where they're going. I don't really give a shit about the characters. So at the end of the day, it's not a movie I would ever watch again.
Yeah, I take both of what you just said and combine them into my feelings about the movie. I don't think you should even see it. I did not like this movie at all. Here's a trailer for Transcendence.
The path to building superintelligence requires us to unlock the most fundamental secrets of the universe.
Intelligent machines will soon allow us to conquer our most intractable challenges.
To develop new methods for the early detection of cancer.
To build a better future for all of us.
Simply put, to save lives.
Once online, its analytical power will be greater than the collective intelligence of every person born in the history of the world.
Professor?
What did you do? Take out the course.
Revolutionary independence from technology, Rift.
They hit AI labs all over the country.
We're determined to stop any attempt at what you call transcendence.
We're looking at 5 weeks before the system shuts down.
When I'm gone, keep moving forward.
I won't let you go.
We can upload his consciousness. We can save him.
Not like this. If we missed anything, how will you know who you're dealing with? Oh my God.
It's like my mind has been set free. I'm gonna need to expand. I need more power. Get me online.
This is going well. Shut it down.
Shut it down! It's him!
Where are you going?
Everywhere.
Your friends, they don't know the danger.
If she connects to the internet, the first thing it'll do is copy itself. And then there is no taking it down. The real will die. Whatever it is, building an army out there.
What is this?
It's evolution.
This isn't evolution. It's an abomination.
What the hell's happening?
I'm able to fix them.
This has gone too far, Will. Stop it!
I don't understand. This is the future.
This is not our future. Evelyn! You're not here with me.
You've changed. Have you fallen out of love with me?
No.
Have you?
If we don't stop him, it will be the end of mankind as we know it.
Here's the thing about this movie is the characters aren't well developed, so you don't care about them. The movie is really fucking boring.
The ideas are better developed than the characters.
Yeah,
are.
exactly. I guess in case you didn't get from the trailer, I'll set up the movie. Johnny Depp is a brilliant doctor, computer guy, and he's trying to make an artificial intelligence that is self-aware of itself.
Yeah.
Like Skynet. So
because the idea, the fear here, and what's cool about the idea is that as soon as you have an artificial intelligence like that, it is actually smart enough to improve itself, and that scales exponentially.
Exactly. It's an interesting idea. It really is. But for someone, so Rebecca Hall plays his wife, who Johnny Depp is shot. What I did like about the movie, but then I hated the resolution of it, is the trailer made it look like he was shot and then he was uploaded or something.
Yeah.
Before, but actually he was poisoned with a bullet, which is more dumb. I'm like, oh, maybe he got cancer or something. His last wish would to be put up in the computer internet.
And did he go home the same day he got shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a tough fucker.
Well, it only grazed him. They said that. They were like, oh, he's lucky. It only grazed him. I was like, wait a second. The trailer told me he died. In that garbage fucking awful trailer.
Yeah.
They told me he got shot and died.
Which is like, why go through the route of like the poisoning? Like, why not just poison him with a cake like everyone else? Or,
yeah.
Or just shoot him? Like, why tease us with one shot and then kill him slowly the next?
It's clearly a thing from the book that, you know.
And the thing, too, is, like I said, you don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, and for Rebecca Hall, for being such a smart character that, she designed all this stuff and helped with it, she's really that stupid where, I hate when characters are written just driven by their emotions.
Yeah.
That her husband's going to die, and then, oh, that's really him. And every decision she makes is a horrible decision.
Yeah.
But you don't understand why she's making it, because in your head, you're like 4 steps ahead of her, and you don't think you should be,
Right.
because she's some brilliant scientist. And also it seems like all these really cool character actors just owed people favors, and because they really have no characters that are fleshed out.
Yeah.
I mean, Cillian Murphy's in it, and what does he do? Nothing.
Yeah.
Even Morgan Freeman's in it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Kate Mara was horrible. I mean, she's not.
Yeah. And I really like Kate Mara.
Yeah.
And she. Yeah. Paul
Anyone-
Paul Bettany's cool.
He is.
I liked Paul Bettany's character. Paul Bettany's character is probably the most interesting. It was a shame that he was not on. That he basically gets cut out of the second act.
Yeah.
Because his like the.
Because he had
from
problems.
in there-
Maybe the most interesting like character piece of the movie is when he's in jail or when he's been captured and they're like trying to bring him around, and this whole thing that like his philosophies about technology have caused this group to grow the way that it did, and yet he's helping. You know, like that's the most interesting character dilemma in the whole movie.
And I was hoping, like, this is me. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if he was actually like the leader of this thing, and he was trying to stop them, but he was helping at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
At
he
least
was in
that's
love
some
with
dynamic. Yeah,
with his wife, but it was hinted at, but it never really grew. I don't know. It was.
Yeah.
It was
At one
so
point,
many. Go ahead, sorry, Brad.
Like they flashed the 2 years later mark. While at first I was thinking, is there not a manhunt for this like reputable doctor? Like it seems like they're just going after the rift cell, and then it goes 2 years later. I'm like, so what's happening to Paul Bettany in 2 years? Like, is he just
that's true
in
yeah.
their prison? And then it shows up like, oh yeah, he eventually decided to join their gang.
And here's the thing too.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I hate when plots have holes like Swiss cheese. So these people find out that she's in this other town building this stuff. How the fuck did they get that information? Technology.
Apparently, there's just dudes with cameras like roving around the desert,
Yeah.
taking pictures for the rift.
Randomly.
That one really annoyed me because the images they had of like the superhuman, nanotech dudes was the shot from the movie.
Yeah.
And that pissed me off. And they used it a couple times and I was like, dude, really?
Also, if the nanotechnology is like in the water and then filtering through, like, isn't everyone like, because we're what 80% water, 75% water, like we're almost instantaneously infected with the nanobots.
Yeah.
Like as soon as
Well,
it
I
gets
think that was
into
the idea.
Yeah, but I mean, like it floated around, and then they had a meeting where they said like, if this gets further into the ecosystem, like the instant it goes in the air, it's in the ecosystem. Like the fact that it travels so quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think what they were saying was that like at this point it's already gone too far. The only way we can stop it is to like get a virus in there or whatever. Which it was disappointing that the way they stop it was a virus, because this is clearly a movie that was supposed to be a character-driven kind of arc.
Yeah.
So the way they stopped it should have been somebody convinces, like you had this moment where if it really is Will in the machine, then his wife should be able to convince him to shut himself off, and then that's the cool ending where she goes back and convinces him that he is sentient, that he is self-aware, and that being self-aware he needs to turn himself off.
Yeah.
That's a cool ending to the movie. Instead it's like, oh no, we got to do a virus. And then the scene there where Kate Mara holds the gun to Paul Bettany, right? All of a sudden, there's like this leap in logic, and I was completely confused because suddenly, like, Johnny Depp knows that there's a he's like, I can either save her or I can upload the virus, but I can't do both. And I was like, what does that fucking mean? And when did you learn there was a virus? And she's yelling about upload the virus, and you're like, wait, he was gonna do it anyway. Like, you're spoiling the plan.
And I didn't understand why was Kate Mara going to kill Paul Bettany?
I think like the idea was. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know what she was thinking.
Did he inject himself with the virus too? Is that what it was?
Well, what I'm trying to say is, like, why even have Rebecca Hall go back to transfer? Because if the logic of, like, the nanotechnology is spreading through the water, like, everyone should be instantly, like, as fast as it spreads, everyone, as soon as it goes in the atmosphere, like, that's it. Like, it's there before they have their meeting. And so if they got to put it, like, it should already be in Rebecca Hall, and so the nanotechnology should already be connected to everybody.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Except for the ones, like, in the copper shielding.
So theoretically, all they have to do is inject her with the
anyone.
virus.
They could put in,
suddenly
they could put in Bettany. They could put in Morgan Freeman. Like, anyone.
You're right.
Yeah. It should just, they could inject it into the soil. It doesn't even have to go into her.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's got to be absorbed or whatever. I don't know.
Through the blood. I don't know.
It doesn't matter because it's just a lame ending to the movie. Like there are these cool ideas.
I know it sets up like this actiony thing with like mortars and the military, and then it's just like bang bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cannon fell apart. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. It was too bad because I think early on I was really kind of interested in it.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time talking about the singularity and the whole idea about transcendence, and that's like it's just a talking head thing.
Yeah,
like they just keep on, and they
it
don't even
seemed
really
everybody
explore
was
the idea. They
bored.
just talk. Yeah,
Everyone was bored. Even Johnny Depp was like, I'm into this movie.
it felt like, what do we do with this idea?
Yeah,
like where else do we take it? Like it's kind of an idea where you can't control anything, like because it's so. It's like a superhero with too many powers.
It's like Superman, yeah.
Yeah. It's like if it can do whatever, like it can do all these like
crazy
grand things,
yeah.
like, and you can't, it's so fast that you can't
right. Which is why
get ahead of it. It's like, what do you do?
I'm sorry, Wally Pfister. Oh, no, he didn't do the script. But any writer worth his salt knows that when you have a character like that, the only way to defeat that character is through a character, or to defeat that villain is through some kind of character-driven resolution.
The movie looked great.
It does, yeah. Good job, Wally Pfister. It's too bad that
It had a lot of Nolanisms.
Yeah.
Especially the end.
Yeah.
When it, like,
but not done as well.
Yeah. Like the
was
whole.
he supposed to direct this?
I think he might have.
And I think he kind of backed out. I think he was. Yeah.
Probably was like, I don't know what to do with this idea. Like, I don't know how to make this visually interesting.
I don't know.
Or dramatically interesting.
I read an article, an interview with a screenwriter, and that guy is writing Prometheus 2, who wrote that Transcendence. So be ready for that.
I'd rather they just get David Spates to do it again. Or not David Spates. Spates, yeah. Whoever did the first script. Oh, man. Yeah.
And so they steal a bunch of money? Or they play the
she
stock
doesn't
market?
Steal. Yeah, she earns the money. Because
I never considered playing the stock market earning, but yeah.
Well, but you know what I mean. Like, she doesn't do it illegally, so they can't come after her for that. Like, he's just super smart that he can read the stock market and, like, you know...
It's so convenient.
Buy and sell things so quickly that,
Like, and no one questions it. Like, 2 years go by and no one's like, wow, a lot of money has moved to this corporation. Like, they have a really good track record.
Yeah.
Nah.
And they're building some kind of cult.
Yeah, they bought a whole town and, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
But we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Well, will we? Because, yeah.
Yeah, eventually they figure it out, but...
Yeah.
It's... Fuck, I don't know. That
what was it, $36 million on the first day or something? I think that would raise some flags.
Yeah, just... It is the most boring movie I've been in a long time. I'm like, I just kept on waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened, and...
I was a little distracted by that one chick who, I think, for a good hour... Yeah.
I'm surprised no one next to her said anything.
Yeah.
Like, she was far enough away.
Everybody next to her was asleep.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, what was she talking about that lasted that long? It must have been really important.
Yeah.
Not to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So next week, Brad, I don't know what the fuck we're going to see. James isn't going to be here.
Yeah.
Someone's not going to be here, huh?
I was thinking maybe
too good for the show.
1984 like movie at the Alamo. I don't know what's playing, but
or Oculus.
Or
Oculus is like number 3 if you guys want to go see that.
Wait, isn't Earth to Echo the movie next week?
No, next week is Brick Mansions,
The Other Woman,
or some other shit.
The Quiet Ones.
The Quiet Ones.
Yeah.
Or you can
go see Oculus. I'm going to be in New Orleans
all weekend.
All week.
Okay. Can we do it Saturday?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Because I think I have something I'll do on Friday.
Oh, now I have to postpone everything I do.
You got to move my life around.
This is a Saturday right now.
No, yeah, I think I took this next Saturday off. Yeah, I think it's cool. What's next Saturday? The 20... Fuck. Whatever. Yeah, sure.
Open Screen Night's the 29th, so...
That sounds great.
28, 27, 26.
Cool. Sure.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll find something cool to watch.
We'll start playing Amadeus again, because I missed that.
Yeah, if we have 4 hours. Sounds good.
An entertaining 4 hours.
Thanks for listening. Remember, get your tickets to Denver Comic Con. Bye.
Bye.
Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find him on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.